Welcome to the Transportation Policy Body meeting today, July 8th, 2025. So it's great to see so many people here. We have a quorum right off the bat, so that's always good. And it's nice to see some newer faces here as well. So first item is the approval of the TPB agenda for today, July 8th, 2025. Anybody like to make a motion for that?
Second that.
Motion and a second to approve today's agenda. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right. Moving on to the approval of the TPB meeting minutes from June 10th, 2025. Everybody a chance to review those? Anybody like to make a motion to approve them? Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from June 10th. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right, moving along. Next, we have item C, Director's Report. Chad, how you doing?
Good. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, members of the Transportation Policy Body. Thank you so much for your quorum as well. I think we have a shorter agenda today. Might take quicker than 1 hour. That's a good thing because the network opportunities for members of the Transportation Policy Body is critical for regional cooperation and collaboration as well. So the opportunity for networking is also there today. We have some reports from staff, and Peter has like 4 reports, 5 reports. Peter, let me request you.
Good afternoon, TPP members. First, we have our bi-monthly transportation improvement project, improvement program project statuses. So, as per our convention, on page 16 of the WAMPO tip policy, it requires that we have these bi-monthly progress reports for projects programmed to receive WAMPO suballocated federal funding in the current federal fiscal year, or that they've received it in a past federal fiscal year, but have yet to finish. So let's go ahead and check in on these projects. So as our convention, we'll go through the ones that are anticipated to obligate and let this year. So we have our 53rd Street Oliver to Woodlawn multi-use path anticipated to let in September. The Douglas Seneca to Meridian project by Wichita anticipated to let in August of this year. Wichita's 17th Street North I-135 to Hillside anticipated to let in September. Valley Center's Seneca Street multi-use path anticipated to let in September of 2025. Oh, I'm sorry, this is on package page 10. I didn't mention it right up front there. We have Butler County's Southwest Butler Road improvements from Southwest 170th Street to Southwest 155th Street, anticipated to let in October of this year. We have Wichita's Intelligent Transportation System, East 21st Street North, anticipated to let in early fall and obligate in August. And Wichita's Redbud multi-use path from Woodlawn Boulevard near 17th Street, 3.5 miles east of K96. That's phase 1 of the Redbud Path project, sponsored by Wichita, anticipated to let in September. Good news is through here, it looks like all of the projects are on track to obligate and start using that federal funding per routine schedule. So this is on package page 11. You can see a map of all of these projects. And as per our convention, here is on package page 10, you can also see a table of the non-suballocated federal funds in the WAMPO tip after Amendment 4. Okay, that concludes the bi-monthly updates. For our next director's report item, just want to bring notice that the FFY 2025-2028 Transportation Improvement Program, Amendment 5, the public comment period is currently in progress. It started on June 27th and will go through Friday of this week till July 11th. And then just so it doesn't ever fall off your radar here, we are currently developing our household travel survey consultant, RFP. So the request for proposals is being drafted by WAMPO staff in accordance with the 2025 UPWP or Unified Planning Work Program. The selected consultant, of course, will conduct a survey wherein households with a target of 2,000 complete responses will be asked to report details on all trips made by all household members over a period of 1 or more days, origin, destination, departure time, arrival time, mode of travel, trip purpose, and then possibly aided by smartphone application that use GPS. The last time we did such a survey, that was completed in 2011. Typically, this is done on a routine 10-year basis, but we delayed that in order to not have the short-term effects of the COVID-19 pandemic skew the results. Survey will provide up-to-date input on data critical to the WAMPO travel demand model. It forecasts future traffic volumes and congestion on the regional transportation network. The Regional Active Transportation Plan, just a quick update on here. So goal, we want to advance active transportation for both the region and collectively for the WAMPO communities individually as well by prioritizing safety, access, and connectivity through planning, public engagement, and identification of specific projects and implementation strategies. Critically, we'll look at previous studies and align with recent and ongoing projects, including the recently finished Wichita Bicycle Plan, the Kansas Active Transportation Plan, and the WAMPO Safe Routes to School Plans, and a Regional Complete Streets Policy. Consistent with the 2025 Unified Planning Work Program, WAMPO staff released a request for proposals for a consultant to complete a regional active transportation plan. The RFP was open from June 5th to July 3rd. The pre-proposal conference was held to answer prospective consultants' questions. That was held on June 12th, and there is a quick questions and answers posted online. A consultant selection committee has been formed and is intended to consider our proposals that we received in about 2 weeks in this July. And then just to give a quick recap, we will look at the entire WAMPO region and try to make this useful for all of our jurisdictions across the WAMPO region that you can see there. We're going to build off some of our existing maps and GIS files, such as our sidewalks and our, for example, our current off-road and on-road existing bikeways. And then another aspect of this plan is we want to identify so-called catalyst projects, which are high impact, visible, active transportation initiatives that improve connectivity and safety and potentially spur broader regional investment. So for example, there we have Keeper of the Plains. Another example was the Redbud Trail. You can see on the bottom there, we have the 0.9, a trail site eatery, Spring Up, and their branding, they even put the Redbud Trail on it. But just a couple examples there, and just to kind of keep these things on your radar. So as we move farther along, you guys are all well aware of where we're headed. And then finally, I have the automatic bicycle and pedestrian counter contract updates. So we purchased 10 automatic multimodal counters in August of 2024, which were delivered in December 2024. Wichita, Hayesville, and Sedgwick County agreed to assist with the 20% non-federal match portion of the cost. Currently, formal interlocal agreements for sharing of the counters, paying the non-federal match portion, and permission to deploy the counters within the 3 jurisdictions are underway. 1 is completed and 2 are pending. Equipment testing field deployments are anticipated to begin in summer of this year. Quite excited. They can do more than just bicycle pedestrian. We can also do different traffic counts, turning movements, things of that nature. Okay. Kind of a whirlwind of those different reports there. I'm going to pass it over to Kim to talk about the 2025 bicycle and pedestrian count.
Wow, to follow Peter, some big shoes to fill. Good afternoon, TPB. I'm Kim Negrete. I'm your multimodal transportation safety planner, and excited that again this year we will be conducting the annual bicycle and pedestrian count. We have selected the 3 dates consistent with our annual count. So that is September 10th, 11th, and 13th of this year. Every year, we conduct this count of bicycle and pedestrian activity across approximately 35 plus locations. And we are actually just finalizing those locations. So if there's a new location in your jurisdiction that you would like to see included in the count, please let me know. I'll be reaching out to a few just to check on some of these new count sites. So if you have, especially if you've put in infrastructure somewhere and you would like to start collecting data on it, please just let me know if you would like that included. these are the dates. We just wanted to get them on your radar. Registration for volunteers will be open probably in the next week or so, and you'll be receiving a beautiful email from Marky that will have all the count details, the flyer that can be posted, and also a video on how to do the count. But we do appreciate your leadership and collaboration. We couldn't do this without you. This takes approximately 60 volunteers to collect this data. This data is utilized by WAMPO, by the jurisdictions, and also by not many nonprofits in the community that use it to seek funding. So this data is really important. So yeah, any questions, Chad?
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it. Next, we have Marky. Marky had been collaborating with KDOT and FHWA partner agencies. So Marky has an update.
Great, thank you. I'm Marky Jonas, the community planner here at WAMPO. I do have a few updates. I'll try not to monologue too much with this first one. It is on your packet on pages 15 and 16. And this is just our quarterly Unified Planning Work Program, or UPWP task chart update. So the Unified Planning Work Program describes the planning activities that WAMPO staff and consultant will undertake and how federal planning funds allocated to WAMPO will be used during the year. So we have this table that shows our high-level priorities, and we try and give updates of all of those and the status of them. And then attached in the packet as well is our quarterly activity report, and we submit that as part of our reimbursement package to KDOT, and that gives more detail about all of the tasks that we have been working on so far this year. And then just a quick highlight overview of some of these priority projects that were identified for this year. That includes Metropolitan Transportation Plan, or MTP 2050 development and implementation, safety initiatives and activities, our annual single audit, the Regional Active Transportation Plan development, the Regional Transit Implementation Plan, Safe Routes to School, the Title VI Program and Limited English Proficiency Plan, our Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP, the Travel Demand Model Update, Regional ITS Architecture, or Intelligent Transportation Systems Architecture, and our Household Travel Survey. That was a lot, but does anyone have any questions on that? And then I also just wanted to give a heads up about our Title VI program and Limited English Proficiency, or LEP plans. As I'm sure you all are aware, WAMPO ensures full compliance with Title VI, which ensures that no person shall, on the grounds of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from or denied benefits to any discrimination, or have any discrimination for any agency receiving federal financial assistance. And this does include ensuring accessibility for persons not proficient in the English language. So to do this, we follow the Federal Transit Administration, or FTA's circular for Title VI, and that outlines that this plan should be updated every 3 years. So in line with that, we will be updating ours again this year, since the last update was in 2022. And then we submit that to KDOT, since we are a subrecipient. So we just help ensure that KDOT maintains compliance. So just kind of an update that will be an update. Okay. And then I also wanted to provide notice of an administrative adjustment to the WAMPO Public Participation Plan. A public participation plan describes an MPO's strategies and techniques to inform and engage the public in transportation planning. Our PPP was last approved in 2022 and will undergo a full update in 2027. However, having received updated federal guidelines, we have processed an administrative adjustment after doing a thorough review of the plan, just to ensure that it does follow and align with the new guidance. No changes were made to any of the processes or participation techniques, and the revisions do not change the approved intent or content of the document. An overview of the changes include removal of reference to rescinded executive orders, a few language adjustments, and then edits to correct grammar, improve word choice, and other editorial changes for clarity, and then just a couple adjustments for minor inaccuracies. And this is available on our public participation webpage. Does anyone have any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Marky. I appreciate it. And Peter, Kim, Marky, thank you for the reports. Mr. Chair, thank you.
All right, thank you. So no questions for Chad, Marky, Peter, or Kim? All right, moving along, this brings us to our public comment opportunity. So if any member of the public would like to speak, anything on our agenda or off agenda, you're allowed to speak for 3 minutes. Anybody? All right, seeing none, we will move on to our action item. Our first action item is the 2025 Unified Planning Work Program Amendment Number 1. Marky.
Thank you. So again, our Unified Planning Work Program, or UPWP, outlines the planning activities that we will undertake during the year. This is generally approved in the year beforehand. So this document was approved in November of last year of 2024. And updates are necessary to account for the removal of some tasks that are no longer needed, addition of tasks that are not currently in the UPWP, and the adjustment of program dollar amounts to better align with anticipated work this year. We held a public comment period for the proposed amendment from June 6th through June 20th. No comments were received. And funding for the UPWP comes from various sources, including Federal Consolidated Planning Grant, or CPG funds, which require a 20% local match. After Amendment 1, CPG local match expenditures would total $2,486,495. The proposed changes in Amendment 1 include minor language adjustments to reflect the updated federal guidance, as well as the approval of Metropolitan Transportation Plan 2050, removal of 2 consultant services subtasks, in which we're hiring a consultant for a Safe Streets and Roads for All implementation grant application, and purchasing additional automatic bicycle and pedestrian counters, adjustment of funding for the Regional Transit Implementation Plan consultant task following the invoiced amount to better align with that, the addition of a subtask to purchase data, funding adjustments between staff tasks to better align with planned work, an extension of the timeframe of the consultant-supported Safe Routes to School project to match that consultant contract, and then reduced funding programmed this year for 2 upcoming multi-year consultant projects, the overall funding for which is not reduced, it's just less this year since those have not yet started. The less funding is needed in this year. And that is also in your packet with a big table, more details on that. And the TAC recommendation for this was to approve as presented. Are there any questions before your action options?
I don't see any.
Okay, in that case, your action options are to approve the 2025 UPWP amendment as presented, not approve the 2025 UPWP Amendment 1, or approve the 2025 UPWP Amendment 1 with specific changes.
All right, thank you, Marky. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the 2025 UPWP Amendment 1 as presented?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the 2025 UPWP Amendment Number 1. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right, thank you, Marky.
Thank you.
All right, next we will move on to item B, releasing the draft Metropolitan Transportation Plan 2050 Amendment 1 for public comment period. Peter.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So releasing the draft Metropolitan Transportation Plan, MTP 2050, Amendment 1 for the public comment period. So a little bit of background, May 13th, TPB approved MTP 2050, thankfully ahead of the June 2025 deadline to do so. MTPs must be updated at least once every 5 years. That put us right at that 5-year mark. And then according to the WAMPO Public Participation Plan, the public comment period for a proposed MTP amendment can only start after the TPB releases it for public comment. So after the public comment period is brought to the TAC for recommendation and then for TPP for an approval vote. And that's just the typical MTP amendment process. So primarily, this started with changes in response to new USDOT guidance. This guidance was on the contents of not only MTPs, but also other documents with which WAMPO staff and our federal and state and federal partners were working to ensure compliance with this new guidance. As part of aligning with that guidance and in collaboration with state and federal partners, certain language within MTP 2050 has been identified for revision through proposed Amendment 1. For specific examples, we have equity or equitable, diversity, diverse, inclusion, environmental justice, disproportionate impacts or outcomes, underserved, disadvantaged, underrepresented. These are examples, but not necessarily an exhaustive list. During this process, though, it was proposed that and included in this proposal that we remove the following appendices: the project scoring model, the comprehensive safety action plan, the regional transit implementation plan, the active transportation plan appendice, the electric vehicle plan, network plan, and the economic development analysis. These appendices are not required to be removed, but in our review process, there wasn't a compelling reason to keep them in. And as a public-facing document, this will change the MTP 2050 size from being over 1,354 pages down to 376, making it a bit more publicly accessible. Some of the appendices proposed to be removed are planning documents that the TPP separately approved, such as the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan, or that appear on the WAMPO website and other locations besides the MTP webpage. The removal of these appendices from MT 2050 would not rescind the TPP's approval of them, nor require that they be removed from WAMPO's website's non-MTP pages. And then critically, for future changes, if a planning document no longer doubles as an MTP appendix, it can be amended or adjusted without also amending and adjusting the MTP. And then finally, planning documents that no longer appear in MTP 2050 as appendices are still subject to the same USDOT guidance on their contents, and amendments or adjustments to them in response to that guidance will be presented to the TPP in the near future. So we have, as we discussed on an earlier time, we do have several other documents besides MTP that there will be minor adjustments to, particularly in reference to the words and language that we presented on that previous slide. Some other proposed changes, we were removal of references to rescinded executive orders, removal of some sections to better align with federal guidance, for example, environmental justice, edits to correct grammar, improve word choice, and perform other editorial changes for clarity, and adjustments to correct minor inaccuracies that were discovered during the review and amendment process. The tentative schedule, consistent with the WAMPO Public Participation Plan, is July 8th today. The TPP vote to release the proposed amended MTP 2050 for public comment. Again, this is not a vote for final approval. That would occur on our next meeting, August 12th, assuming we release for public comment from July 11th to July 2025. Then it'll go for TAC recommendation on July 28th. The TPP would again vote on August 12th. And then after that final improvement on amendment, we would finish MTP 2050 public engagement round 5, in which we would introduce the approved plan to the public at large. Which finally brings us to our action options. Before I read them, does anyone have any questions for me?
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Will those still be referenced? So if someone wanted to go find those references, they could?
Yes, they will still be available online. They just won't be included as appendices in the MTP itself.
What if you had a condensed version, which is the one that you are proposing, and also one that is extensive? What do you think of having both? But obviously you're only releasing the condensed version to the public, but maybe still have it on the website.
The appendices themselves they can be standalone documents. Those 6 I mentioned. The rest of the MTP would just have those other changes and editorial changes that we specified. Can you clarify when you say condensed version? Do you mean like a condensed version of those appendices, but still attached to the MTP, or?
The 1,300 pages, those were links that were connected to those, right?
Yes, there's references to that. So in general, that 1,300 pages, I don't have the exact page number, but the difference between the 1,300 and the 376, that is primarily the economic development analysis. It's the bulk of those pages. And a lot of that is just tables and tables of different demographic and socioeconomic information. I would say it's very much appendix material. I don't know how to necessarily condense it, because as an appendix, as originally was, it kind of fulfills that role as being the appendix that you look if you want more information. But yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't know if I'm answering your question very well.
I think you did. So
Okay.
as long as we're referencing where they can find the additional information is good.
Yes, the information will still exist. It'll be on the WAMPO website, just not as a official appendix to the MTP. And then importantly, this will allow us to, if we do get further guidance where we do need to amend or change these, we can just change these documents without having to go back and do a full MTP amendment or process to adjust it. You're welcome.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, Peter, go ahead.
The staff recommendation is to release the draft MTP 2050 for public comment as presented. So your options are release as presented, not release for draft for public comment, or release with specific changes.
All right, would somebody like to make a motion to release the draft MTP 2050 Amendment 1 for public comment?
Second.
All right, thank you. So we have a motion and a second to release the draft MTP 2050 Amendment 1 for public comment as presented. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed? All right, thank you, Peter. All right, next we have discussion and updates. We have the regional connections presentation from Goddard. So Ryan and Tina, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Kessler and members of the Transportation Policy Board. Thank you for having us. I am not Micah Scoggin, our Community Development Director. He is out sick today. My name is Ryan Schrack. I serve as the Assistant City Administrator with the City of Goddard, and happy to stand in his place. I'll be sharing his slides and then turning it over to Tina to go over the second part of our presentation. So again, looking at growth, these are the areas in which people are moving to Kansas. You'll see a large percentage of those come from Missouri, the other surrounding states. And then in terms of county migration, we're looking at neighboring counties primarily driving growth here in Sedgwick County. And then this slide should not be a surprise to anyone. But again, we've seen this. This is not a statewide trend, but is a nationwide trend. The move from rural to urban growth. So you can see here that this is a graph for the state's population, the transition from predominantly rural setting, rural shift from rural to urban to where we are today. And then looking at jobs, we've seen obviously an uptick in employment here in our region, as well as other regions throughout the country. I would note at this point, I'm just going to add a few comments to what Micah put together in his slides. Just a recent job announcement that we had in Goddard was with our Prairie Land partners. John Deere's bringing a new 70,000 square foot warehouse, a service center, as well as a dealership to the west side of Goddard. So we're very excited. That's going to generate over 40 new jobs for our community. So we're excited to see that growth. We're looking at obviously other commercial and industrial developments as well at this time. The next few slides, these are some heat maps. So obviously the red and the yellow, that's the hot area. This is looking at residential building permits from January of last year through June of this year. So you'll see that predominantly those building permits are being issued in the areas surrounding Wichita. You'll see that Goddard is on the west side. So that's just showing that. And then this next slide, Micah did an overlay of the school district. So our school district, the Goddard School District, is shown in green. And you'll see that, again, a very hot area for new development for residential, as well as some to the north of us in the May School District, as well in other areas of Sedgwick County as well. But again, we are experiencing a lot of residential growth. At this time, we have 10, soon to be more, active subdivisions. And the great thing about those subdivisions is a lot of them are not just single family. We're looking at duplexes, other multi-family housing options coming online in Goddard. Recently broke ground on a new apartment complex, our first one in a long time in Goddard. And so looking at further diversifying our housing options, again, to look at diversifying our workforce, as well as providing a great place for homes, especially in conjunction with our school district in Goddard. And then this just shows a breakdown of those various developments that are in progress right now, with our projected population of over 12,000 by the year 2030. So a lot of great residential growth at this time. Along with that residential growth, of course, we're looking at commercial growth as well. But again, this is just a very brief overview of where we're going. And I'm going to turn it over to Tina to talk about specifically how we're dealing with transportation and as well as future plans to help support all of this residential and commercial growth that we're currently experiencing in Goddard. Thank you.
My name is Tina Powell. I'm city planner for the city of Goddard. Atypical to a city planner, I work closely with our design and transportation planning and our administration. So as you can imagine, with additional residential growth, you have a higher population, and that translates to more traffic volume on your streets. So we have evaluated, when is the right time, what kind of road profiles that we need based on volume. What we have kind of determined is as a strategy, that always has to be cost effective with city. And, we have certain ways to pay for some of these infrastructure needs and development. So we've determined that we're going to basically focus on our bottlenecks first, which are intersections, which we have one in particular, I would say our worst one in Goddard is at 199th and Kellogg. And then after that, we are prioritizing additional turn lanes, the left lane first, and then the additional right turn lanes, and then road widening as we can, and putting roads in with development when possible. One of our other major problems that we have is that we have a highway bisecting our city, which some of you probably also experience in your municipalities. This is a photo of the R-cut that was completed the summer of 2024. This eliminated the left-hand crossings across the highway. So you have a right on and a right off on the north and south side, and then you have a left off. There's also further east and west of this are bump outs where you can make a safe U-turn on the highway. So this is kind of newer traffic design. This is another photograph of some of our other strategies that we've planned. The one on the top left, is Maple and 183rd. So that's an overlay of a roundabout that we plan to have at that intersection. We'll have to acquire corner clips from the developers, which they're pretty agreeable to do that at no cost to the city. The top right is 23rd and 199th, and then the bottom right is 23rd and 183rd, which is where we have two very large developments that are going in. So that's going to significantly increase our traffic volume down there. We love roundabouts in Goddard. As I'm sure you probably have heard that, they lessen the impact of crashes. You have one-way traffic going, so you reduce impacts of head-on collisions. They're natural traffic calming, less maintenance. I mean, all around, there's lots of pros for it. We hope that they're taught in driving school how to use them, but we like them. Planning for additional north-south arterial roads also. If you've been out to Goddard, you kind of know like where these ball fields are. That's at the Genesis Health Club. And then they've also built the sandbox to the west of those ball fields there. They have begun the northern section of Crown Drive. We would like to extend that all the way south to 23rd Street. That would give us an additional north-south arterial road that would relieve traffic counts on the neighboring east-west streets. And then also open that up for commercial and residential growth, give alternate routes for travel. Yeah, they'll get right to high school down that one. It also is going to give another route for our commercial traffic because we have a commercial district that would give that another entrance and exit. This is a view of 183rd intersection improvements. We favorably called it the 183rd turn lanes, where we didn't have any before. So this helps with queuing up to the highway. Probably in your municipalities as well, KDOT controls the signal timing on the highway. They want to give priority to those that are traveling east-westbound. So this is another way that we can get traffic moving north-south to get to the northern and southern limits of our city quicker. And that is about in completion. Now we're finishing up a little bit of an apron on the south side of 183rd. So we're super excited for that one. This is one traffic design concept that Trans Systems has given us. This is, like I said, at our worst intersection at 199th and Kellogg, closing off some of these accesses. What we have learned is that frontage roads are not a great idea close to a highway. So instead of a frontage road, transportation designers or traffic designers are telling us you want a backage road. So as far away from the highway as possible to get your traffic queuing and get in and out of there as best as possible. I will tell you though, our business owners are not thrilled with this design. So it impacts a lot of people differently, traffic design and flow traffic patterns. They want people to get in and out of their businesses as quickly and easily as possible. So we are doing a lot of community engagement when looking at this intersection, also with KDOT as well. And as you all probably know, a lot of these decisions are based off of discussions and taking all perspectives into account. This is another street that we're putting in, Goddard Galleria. This just advertised for bid last week. We're very excited about this one as well. This is a Dugan development, and this road will open up for commercial development all in this area near the Walmart, and that's off the frontage road. We also have a Brahms and Starbucks up there. So I imagine this is going to be kind of another new market square like West Wichita has. We'll have something like that out here in Garden. So that's all I have for now. We'll open it up to any questions if you have any.
Are there any questions for Tina or Ryan? I don't see any, so I appreciate you you coming and sharing your city with us. It's always great to hear from other cities as far as what they're doing. So thank you, Goddard. All right, next we have item 6, committee and partnership updates. The executive committee. So the executive committee, we have moved our meeting to August 12th at 2 p.m. Because it interfered with several of us go to the Global Leadership Summit, which was happening on the previous date. So it has been moved to August 12th at 2 p.m. for the executive committee, which is right before our next TPP. All right, item B, the Kansas Department of Transportation, KDOT. JB, welcome.
Thank you. Westbound K96 will have a single lane closure between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Wednesday, July 9th to allow for equipment loadout. The closure is part of the North Junction Gold Project, Phase 2B. Another update is the westbound inside lane of K96, specifically at the DMS sign near Redbud Trail, is scheduled to close from 9 a.m. to noon tomorrow, July 9th, for DMS maintenance.
All right, thank you. Any questions for JB? All right, was that the Wichita Metro as well? Okay, great. All right, next we have Federal Highway Administration. I think I saw Javier online.
Yeah, no updates from me today.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have member jurisdiction updates. Any updates from the membership? Go ahead.
Hey, just Dan, in Butler County, SBA is just from all that rain we had back a week ago. So SBA is locating a small or a loan program headquartered in El Dorado, and then we just opened another SBA office at the Ruffin Building on the first floor to help handle all the region. So if anybody's got flood damage that they want to talk to SBA about, they can go. They're centering out of El Dorado because Butler got the.
It's at the courthouse, first floor of the courthouse.
Okay. But anyway, started today, I think, or at least in Sedgwick it did. I don't know how long it goes. Okay.
All right, thank you. Any other updates? If not, we'll move on to other business. We have none, and then adjournment. So anybody like to adjourn today's meeting? Motion and a second. You are adjourned. See you next month.